Love never changes. I'ma spend my whole life talking about your greatness. I am a child of God. Yes, I am. Nobody can alter that. He gave me the greatest love. I couldn't pay enough to give an offer back. I find it so awesome that though I fell off the track, he kept it all intact. That's why I brush off a text. I can just call my dad. He never lost a match. That's why I say it's awesome. Yes, God's the greatest. Please, can I get an amen? Amen. He's so amazing. Ain't no debating. Can I please get an amen? Amen. He saved your soul and then make you whole. Let the church say amen. Amen. And he'll change your life in an instant. All you gotta do is just say when. God is awesome. Yes, God's the greatest. Please, can I get an amen? Amen. He's so amazing. Ain't no debating. Can I please get an amen? Amen. He saved your soul and then make you whole. Let the church say amen. Amen. And he'll change your life in an instant. All you gotta do is just say when. God is awesome. Yes, God's the greatest. Please, can I get an amen? Amen. He's so amazing. Ain't no debate.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We will be with you shortly in just a moment. Listen to these songs from Incognita. Amen.
Can I testify that I've been redeemed by the death of Christ, by the Holy One that gave his only Son so that we might experience the best of life? Blessed am I for that warm embrace with those same arms that he stretched to die. I ain't got afflictions, know that I get strong with the faith that I exercise. Always about my Father's business, trying to keep it all optimistic. The glory that I hope in is heaven. Earth, I'm just meant to stop and visit. I'm a witness that God is listening. He's always fighting our opposition. God is able to grant all our wishes, but we just have to take off the limits. God is awesome, yes, God's the greatest. Please, can I get an amen? Amen. He's so amazing, ain't no debating. Can I please get an amen? Amen. He saved your soul and then make you whole. Let the church say amen. Amen. And he'll change your life in an instant. All you gotta do is just say when. This life is a precious gift that I'm blessed to live, and Jesus paid off my debt to him. Trials are heavy, about to lose your mind, but God worked it out like he was at the gym. Will I ever turn away from God? That's a big fat no, but the chance is slim. Anyone who calls on his name, he won't turn away, but he'll answer them. Don't want nothing, don't say nothing. Shout out to Pastor P. I don't know about y'all, but I'm trying to get everything God has for me. Any test that life brings, I know I can pass it with ease. I don't have to cheat. Any problems that may come, I can just lay them all at my master's feet. That's why I say, God is awesome, yes, God's the greatest. Please, can I get an amen? Amen. He's so amazing, ain't no debating. Can I please get an amen? Amen. He saved your soul and then make you whole. Let the church say amen. Amen. And he'll change your life in an instant. All you gotta do is just say when. Third verse. You're so holy. I'm so blessed just to say that you know me. I got Jesus, so I'm never lonely. Now I got a 3 for the win like Kobe. Yeah. And you're patient. The Most High God, none is adjacent. You're consistent. Love never changes. I'ma spend my whole life talking about your greatness. I am a child of God. Yes, I am. Nobody can alter that. He gave me the greatest love. I couldn't pay enough to give an offer back. I find it so awesome that though I fell off the track, he kept it all intact. That's why I brush off a text. I can just call my dad. He never lost a match. That's why I say it's awesome. Yes, God's the greatest. Please, can I get an amen? Amen. He's so amazing. Ain't no debating. Can I please get an amen? Amen. He saved your soul and then make you whole. Let the church say amen. Amen. And he'll change your life in an instant. All you gotta do is just say when. God is awesome. Yes, God's the greatest. Please, can I get an amen?
What's going on, good peoples, good peoples? This is your man's Kevin Mullins, Mr. I Rep the Most High, coming to you live from the Uncommon Report with Common Ground, where we're growing up one mic at a time. Listen, guys, we had to run it back. You know what I'm saying? Last time we had some technical difficulties, but we definitely wants to get those words of information and inspiration out there to our community. So, without further ado, I do have Miss Cynthia on the line tonight, bringing her in. How you doing, Miss Cynthia? Let's unmute. Unmute.
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing awesome. Doing fantastic. So, like I said last time, we had a slight technical difficulties, but we had to run it back. That's what we do. If we can't get it right one time, let's try it again.
Right, right. I'm so grateful that you ran it back.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, talk to the people. Talk to us. Let us know what it is. Well, let's do a slight recap.
Okay.
How did you get into journaling and writing?
Okay. So, really for me, I've always been the one to write things down. As an early on in my life, I would write um, just how some people do doodling and those types of things. I would be writing on the side, and I have journals and things that I would write as a little girl, and it was just a way of expressing myself, and so I continued to do that as I became an adult.
Absolute, absolute, absolute. So, moving on, what was like one of your favorite pieces that you wrote that made you say, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna stick with it."
It's kind of hard to pick a piece that is a favorite, to be honest with you, because I write based off of what's going on and what I think people need.
Hmm.
But goodness, I enjoy writing for different genres, so I
Hmm.
can't really pinpoint a particular favorite, but I can say that a couple of years ago, what really encouraged me to continue to pursue it and publish my writings was that I actually reached out to someone and was asking about doing some content writing after I was featured in a magazine. And the fact that they were like, okay, yes, show me some of your samples and how they were grateful to read some of my work. And I began to be surprised at the fact that I was getting paid for my writing. And from there, I'm like, okay, I really can go forward and continue to go even higher in writing.
Okay, all right, all right. So, your next stage would be starting on your books, correct?
Yes,
Okay, how many books do you have?
I currently have four that are published, and I have several that are waiting to be published.
Okay, all right. But take us through that journey of becoming an author.
Okay.
What is some of the things that the people need to know if they are an aspiring author or writer, that they would need to know? Give us some tips and give us your experience.
Okay. So for me, I would say one, do the research and know who you're writing to and know what your audience wants to read from you. So I am very intentional to write what my audience wants to read, as long as it aligns with what the type of content that I enjoy writing, and I can know that I can put that out there for them to read. But for
Hmm.
me, my first book was a self-help book, and I wanted it to be just a piece that people can use to help them to transition to a journey of freedom. And it's called Free as an Uncaged Bird. And what I did for that, when I interviewed several people about their journey of freedom and things that they experienced that held them down. And I asked them questions about, what did you do to help you to become free? I curated all that content and I included some of my stories as well. But again, I use that as a tool to help people to transition to an area of freedom. My next two books were children's books. And at first, I was doing a speaking engagement, and the topic that I used, I had a sorority sister that encouraged me to say, you should actually publish that information so that little girls can have that in a book. And so I did. I took it a step further and I published Dream Like a Queen. And then I had parents that were asking me for the boys' version. So a year later, I published Dream Like a King. And I asked them, I said, can you give me at least a year with the girls? And then I will come back and I'll do one for the boys. And then the very last book that I published is called I Thought About It. And that one is a collection of poems and monologues that helps people to think about even further the things that are on their mind that you might not say out loud, but to know that someone's there and that they hear your thoughts. And that's just
Hmm.
another way of getting just having a level of expression. Um, Initially catered towards teens, but I was surprised at the number of adults that have contacted me and said, I read your book and I cried, because it took them
Mm.
back to a place from when they were younger and they were able to be delivered out of something that held them bound.
All right, all right. That is awesome. And what is the title of that book again for those who may have
It's called I
missed
Thought.
it? I thought about it. Okay. All right. All right. So
Mhm.
let's just rewind a little bit and talk about the publishing aspect, because
Mhm.
I'm sure that there's somebody out there that's like, I don't know where to start, I don't know what to do. Where would you start at? Once this person already has these things written but they want to put it out there, give them a
Okay.
little snippet of the blueprint.
Okay, so if you already have it written, well, for those who may not have it written, I would definitely say start writing. Start where you are. Start writing it down, whether you're handwriting it or putting it in a computer. But whatever you do, start somewhere. Start writing, but also include the research. You got to know who you're writing to. You know, what does that audience look like? I mean, if it's for children, what do they like to hear? If it's for adults, are they going to pick it up and read it? Even before you begin to design the outside of your cover, you got to think about the content and do the research on the target audience that you're writing to. So, creating that model and knowing what they want to read. Once you have your book established in a place to where you've written it, make sure that you edit it, and then give it to someone else to look at it and to edit and review for you. Pay an editor to review it for you so that you can make sure that you don't have any grammatical errors, because you want to put out your best content for the reader. You want to make sure that the visuals, if you have the visuals, that they're aligning correctly with what your book is about. And you also want to go to the correct publishing process. If you want to do self-publishing, which I do self-publishing, then you want to be able to choose the source where you want to publish at. But that's making sure that you've written it the way that it's supposed to be outlined. You have had it edited, and then you're in a place to where you are ready to publish it. I also would encourage people to purchase their ISBN number. I did not purchase for my first three books. I just published through Amazon and just allowed them to select the ISBN number. But I ran into an issue with that when I tried to do an event somewhere, and it was like, oh no, you published to one of our competitors. So I've learned to purchase my own ISBN numbers, and so my last book does have my own ISBN number, and that way I can have it on a larger platform. And I actually chose a printing company that I like. I love the quality
Okay.
of the work, to print for me, to print on demand.
Give them a shout out.
I like printing through Lulu.
Mm,
Yeah,
Lulu.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Haven't heard of it. There's some others I've heard of.
Hmm.
But guys, if you need the information, it's here for you.
Yes.
That's why we call this the Uncommon Report, because we want to feed the people the information, whether it's on the artistry side, the business side, or in this case, the journaling and writing side as well. So let's get into one of those pieces though. Let's listen to one.
Okay. Well, I from my very last book, and I do kind of read this in several different places that I've visited. The first one that's in here is called "Do You Hear Me?" Right? Did you hear me? Hear what I am saying. Sometimes I wish I had someone to talk to who would hear what I am saying. My words go in one ear and out the other. You deal with my words to pass the time. Did you hear me? I said you deal with my words to pass the time. You listen to my mumbled sentences, but did you hear my heart? I need someone to talk to, but hear what I am saying. My words are stuck in my chest and trapped with nowhere to go. Ask me the right questions. Dig a little deeper. I have to tell you something. I am speaking. You are listening, but did you hear me?
Mm, let's snap it up. What inspired that piece?
Well, actually, all the pieces in this book is inspired by the fact, people that I've met.
Hmm.
Originally, this book was inspired by young people that I met. And again, it's just to let them know that someone is connecting with you. We do hear you. There's an outlet for you. And even if you have to write it out, there's an avenue for you. So every single poem in this book is inspired by someone, somehow, that I met in some aspect of my life, whether it was a child or whether it was an adult, or whether it was
Hmm.
just things that I can remember, or thinking about that maybe someone just wanted to hear.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you have another piece for us?
Okay. One other favorite that people like um, is the very next one, and it's called Notes.
Mm.
So, I think probably the older generation could appreciate this one, because they don't do so much of this as now in these days. My mama is something else. Sometimes she leave these notes. The notes on the back of the envelope. in the same little spot on the counter. She gets on my nerves, but you know I love her. Talking about don't have nobody in my house when I'm gone. And don't spend all the day on that game and your phone. Fold them clothes in the dryer and put them away. Move your stuff out the front room. It's in the way. I ain't trying to hear my mama's mouth. So let me get started with this before she get back to the house. Notes.
Look, I've had those notes. Wash them dishes. Clean your room.
On the back of the envelope, right?
That's it. That's it. Flip the envelope over. It's a bill. Look, she should have wrote a note back and say, "Pay this bill,"
Right.
and got slapped for being grown. But yes, you're right. Now because of technology so much,
Mhm.
people rarely do those things, and looking back on it, you don't realize how sentimental it is,
Right.
for them to take the time to, use their own handwriting to write you something and let you know whether it's, and they're doing it out of love. Most
Right.
times it's definitely out of love. So
That's true.
now it's text messages. Hey, da 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 da,
Same
real
message,
quick,
but in a
because they
text.
know, huh?
I said same message, but in a text.
Correct, correct, correct. That is awesome. That is awesome. So you did say that you have other books that are going to be published,
Yes.
and was that one that was from the team book, right?
This was, yeah, the very last one was from the team book.
Okay, all right. Just think about it.
I thought about it.
I thought about it. I'm sorry. Forgive me. What will be the genre for, well, the target audience for your next upcoming books?
My next coming book is for adults, and I do have one for children. So I have the one for young readers. It's an
Hmm.
alphabet book, and it actually has a little twist to it. It's called "How to Train Your Person from A to Z," using the alphabets. And, and so was kind of inspired by that. Took a dog out for a walk, and I noticed how when the dogs actually walk and they sniff the grass before they use the restroom, and I'm like, oh my God, it's so funny how we're looking down because they're looking down. So it's like they're training us. So I did a twist on the words in that, and it's not that you're training the dog, but the dog is training you. So using the
Mm,
letters of the alphabet and using the things the way that we train dogs to show that the dogs are training us in some aspect. But it's a fun, adventurous book for children, and it's
okay.
called "How to Train Your Person from A to Z." For young readers,
Mm,
and so of course it's helping them to learn their letters, but they're also connecting with something that is personal to them if they have a family dog or know someone that has a pet. So, and
okay.
the other book that we publish, this one it will be for people who want to transition to business, and that one actually I'll be doing pre-sales for that coming up really really soon. Um, so I'm going to keep that one slightly a little bit of a secret, not really a secret, but
Okay.
but I will tell you what it's about. It is again helping people to transition. If they want to transition from their corporate world to business or
Hmm.
transition to other things in their life, it's heavily endowed with business content, things that I have gone through, learning how to structure my business, the strategies
Hmm.
that I had to go through to make sure that it was properly done, all my ups and downs, and the things that I've learned that I paid for so that I can pour out into other people. But again, it's more so for people who are transitioning out of corporate into entrepreneurship.
Well, young entrepreneur, old entrepreneur, middle-aged entrepreneur, this book is for you.
It is.
We gonna save on the title, but when it comes out, you need to go cop it. You need to
It
go
is.
cop it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Since we're on the topic of business,
Mm-hmm.
and we know that you are a certified grant writer,
Right.
has brought plenty of uh financial help to our non-profit entities around in the area, from
Right.
I believe from Mullins to Marion
Right.
and beyond as well. If not, then it shall be, because you're awesome at what you do. So
Thank
how
you.
did you get into that space? Of course you are
Um,
already a writer, but how
right.
did you get on the business side of writing?
So for me, I think I mentioned before that I kept writings from elementary, middle, high school, and college, and those college writings were something else. We're having to do research papers and data and all those things. Majoring in psychology, and then same thing with my master's, again having to do all that writing. But I actually started trying to do some grants for myself. And then I began to learn more the things that I didn't do well when I didn't get those grants. So learn from my mistakes. And then I began to write for other businesses, just assisting with small grants. And then I began to grow into larger grants as well. It was because, those businesses trusted me to do some of those smaller grants. And I began to grow into larger grants as well.
Okay. So whenever a person is applying for a grant, what is some of the key things that they need to know?
Well, for me, for the ones that I consult with and meet with, I always tell them that, I like to have a folder of certain things. And before I would
Hmm.
even touch a grant to write for them, they need to make sure that they have their business established legally. If they want to get grants, you're going to need that 501c3. You're going to want to make sure that your mission and your vision is clear. You want to make sure that you have all your paperwork in place, such as your letter from the IRS that shows that you're in the 501c3 status. Your board needs to be on point, and you need to have a sustainability plan to know that if you don't get this grant, how are you going to continue to operate? Or if you do get that grant, when the funds are over, how are you going to continue to move forward? You need to make sure that your board is also on board with a plan for your nonprofit so that you won't be the only one doing the work and then go to the board and say, okay, well, I decided to do this. So relying on your board, having your paperwork in place, making sure that you do things, small things like have resumes for the people on your team and for your board, so that when you get ready to write your grant, that you will show up to be competitive compared to the next person that's applying, showing all the good things, that the value that you have and why you're the best pick. So you just want to be able to show and have all of your paperwork in place, but be able to show that you are the one that deserves a grant, by what you do, how you serve the community, making sure that you keep up with your data, how many people you've served. And
Hmm.
then just know that all grants aren't your grants,
Correct.
because grants have certain things that you have to align with for that company. The grantor may say, well, I only want people to apply that aligns with health or education or economic things, but you want to make sure that if you're applying that you align with that, and don't just make up something to say, oh, I want to do this project and make it up just to get the money. It's not going to work like that, because you got those reports that you're going to have to submit.
Right, right. The fast way is not the best way.
Right.
Absolute, absolute. Tell us more. Tell us more about this grant, right? Because I'm sure that there's people out here, they're like, I'm already in status, but it probably needs some things that they need worked on
Okay.
to help.
So one, know too that if you are, when you're first applying, you might not apply for that $1 million grant. So
Hmm.
before I got $1 million grants, I got smaller grants, for companies.
Okay.
And because what the grantors want to see, they want to know that that you've done well with a small portion of money, or that you've done well with other pieces of money that you've received. And don't just rely on just that grant. Have some other fundraising opportunities in place. There are several different types of
Okay.
fundraisers that you can do. And I know people don't like to ask for money, but if you're in a nonprofit world, you are going to have to ask for money, whether it's through the
Correct.
grant or whether it's through other types of fundraising efforts. But you got to have another plan in place. You got to have a strategic plan. You must have a business plan. If you don't have a business plan in place and you got a nonprofit, you got bylaws and all these other things, and you're missing those things because you want to make sure that you have mapped it out. You get with your board and you sit down and you go through and do a strategic plan. And then you get with your board and you go through and you map out your fundraising plan, establish committees so that not one person is the one that's doing all the work. Build off of the strength of your board, because you might have someone on your board that is good in finances. That
Mm-hmm.
person might be the one that's good, that's going to be over your finance committee. And you might have someone that's good in fundraising. That person can be the one to help bring in different fundraising ideas. Just continue to put what you do out there more as well, because a lot of grantors, they'll ask if you have a website or if you have a social media page. And they ask that because they're going to go straight to that website and that social media page to see exactly what you do, if you do what you say you're doing, and if you have the receipts, to prove it. So give yourself credit for the things you do. Just take pictures, make
Right.
sure you keep numbers, collect the data. That's a huge piece with grant writing, is the data. They want to know, who have you served? How many people have you served? When did you serve them? They want to know, what did you do with the money? Did you have money left over? Were you a good steward of the money that you received before? Also, one thing that I did notice is for people that were missing pieces of their operational budget. Yes, you're going to file that 990 every year
Mm-hmm.
as a nonprofit, but you want to make sure that you have a very good, solid operational budget, giving yourself credit for everything. So if I donated $5 to you, then in that donation section of your operational budget, you should show that all the money that was donated to you. If you got grants, whether it was $5 or $100 or $1,000, reflect that, because again, grantor is going to want to know that you still have other money flowing in besides that money that you're going to get from them.
Guys, you have heard it here first. This is information that our community needs, and it's been presented to you by Miss Cynthia O. Tell them where they can reach you at. Where can they reach you at?
Okay, well, they definitely can reach me by phone at 843-894-3860. That is my business line. They can email me at co@cynthia-o.com. And I'm also on social media, so they can reach out to me on Facebook at Cynthia O, or Instagram or LinkedIn.
There you go, guys. The information is out here for us. Um, I did want to just dive a little bit into the journalism side, as
Mhm.
far as the primary places that you write for, the
Okay.
companies that you write for, and express to the people what has it done for you.
Oh my goodness. Yes, I actually write as a contract writer for VIP magazine as well as Diversity Works magazine. And for me, it just aligns right in with what I like to do or what I enjoy doing. I enjoy encouraging people to be in control of their narrative. If you don't try to be in control of the narrative of what you do, your business, your life, then someone else can take your narrative and run with it. But what you do, your actions, your words, and all of you shows and controls your narrative. So this allows me to help people to control their narrative and show who they are and what they do. And again, I was able to write for them because I asked. I reached out to them after I was featured in their magazine and said, "Hey, do you have any opportunities for me to write for you? Whenever you do, let me
Hmm.
know." Again, I submitted some pieces of my work and was allowed to be a contract writer. I'm submitting for VIP magazine at least one article per month, sometimes two. And if for diversity
Hmm.
work, it just depends on whichever articles I'm assigned. And I'll interview people and write about different content. So I publish different things. But what I enjoy doing the most, even when it comes to my books, the magazine articles, and any other types forms of writing that I like to do, is three
Hmm.
things: inspire, ignite, and transform. So you'll notice that
Mm.
my books surrounds those three things: inspire, ignite, and transform. Even the children's books, the teen book, and the adult books falls into those categories, because that's how I want to help others. Now I have most of the books that I have waiting. So I have 11 books waiting. Most of them fall into that, to where I'm helping people in those areas. But I have two that are novels. But again, the content will help in some way.
All right. All right. All right. That's awesome. Let's snap it and clap it up. So, if you are a young entrepreneur, older entrepreneur, or artist, please reach out to Miss Cynthia O, so that she can get an article about you and people can understand what they have in the community because you may be in the back door of somebody and they don't even know that you exist. So please
Exactly.
reach out, contact her, get your article written up because she does a great and wonderful job. I've
Thank
had the
you.
pleasure. I'm not just saying that based on the things that I've seen for other people, but I am a living witness of what her penmanship does. It definitely people have reached out and said they have seen the article, and
Good.
yes, they have. And I was like, yeah, this is what we do. Some people that knew me, they was like, I didn't know you did it. Yes, I do. So anytime that you see the insignia, that is us.
Mhm.
Um,
You
but
mentioned earlier
speaking of,
about my favorite piece to write. I did have one article that I had a pilot to reach out to me, and I mentioned that during the first interview, where we talked about comparing businesses to flying. That one I think was a
mm,
really big hit with different people, and they were surprised about comparing those things. And again, it was just from some books that I read, some pieces that I read, but I applied it locally.
absolutely, absolutely. So this is a person who is living out their gift set. They have multifaceted gifts within inside of them, and they are displaying it here before you. With that being said, I do want to chime in on this last point because you made mention to me that you are an artist in residency, correct?
Right, I am.
I've heard of this term more so now than ever. I've heard of about Usher. He was an artist in residency in Las Vegas.
Mhm.
And I've heard other people mention it on their podcast as well. What is an artist in residency?
So, with an artist in residence, I am an artist in residence through the state of South Carolina, and you know how there's different forms of art, and you really think of art in the form of visual arts. Most people do, at least I did. And For me, I have a brother who was his past. He was an artist, a visual artist, and we had plans of doing things together. He would draw, I would write, and we were going to do so many awesome things in the field of art. But I began to research, and I had a sorority sister, Andrea Starkey, who initially told me about it, and then Miss Justine Roberts and Mr. Bill Nelson also began to pour into me about the artists in residence, and they served as artists in residence in the past in dance and drama. But there are several different types of art. And what you can do is to begin to serve as an artist in different areas. So for me, I am an artist in residence in literature. And what I do is I do presentations, whether it's for adults or children, under the aspect of literature. Specifically for children, for the early readers, I will tap in using my children's books that I have and help them in the areas of sight words or reading or different areas when it comes to writing and reading. For teens, I do the same thing, but I do it a little different. Where I would teach them about creating poetry or doing spoken word, but helping them to tap into the writer that lives within them and showing even the younger readers and the adults that they have the ability to write in some way, but going a little deeper and using my gift of writing to help people. And so, just as an artist can paint and show a visual, and that's their area of mastery, then I can craft writing in the same way where I study words. And so, as an artist in residence in literature, I would take my gift of writing and again pour out that into other people to help them to expand their lives. You
There you
muted.
go, guys. Young artists, old artists, I was muted.
Yeah.
Get with her. Get with her. She got the info to plug you in, take you to one level to the next.
Yes,
And
thank
definitely we will be plugging in about the artists in residence.
you.
I know quite a few artists across the state, such as even myself as well. I definitely want to dive deeper into what it is that I can do to help serve this community
Right,
through the arts. That is what this platform is for. Not
right.
only for the podcast aspect, but for the visual, the performing. I tapped in with a person who actually likes to cook vegan food, so
Mm-hmm.
we'll probably try to get into the culinary next.
Yes,
But definitely so. I appreciate you, Miss Cynthia. Thank you so
thank you.
much for coming on this Uncommon Report podcast, episode
Thank you.
25, part two. Um, so if there's anything else that the people need to know about Miss Cynthia, please let them know at this time.
Well, the last piece about the artists in residence, different artists, you can go to that artist's page and book them as an artist, so that's the last thing that I wanted to share about that. But again, if you're interested in being featured in an article, if you're interested in my books, if you are interested in me coming out to speak, please reach out to me. And if you're interested in me serving your business in the realm of grant writing or helping your nonprofit to establish itself and prepare itself in order to receive funding, reach out to me. I do have the experience. I have secured over $2.5 million in funding, and I am here and I'm available as long as you are ready.
All right, guys. Hey, you've heard it here first here on the Uncommon Report podcast. And if you don't know where we'll be at next, next we'll be in Florence, South Carolina, which will be tomorrow, November the 22nd, the R&B edition part two here at the Open Mic Jazz Bar in Florence, South Carolina. That's 1210 West Evans Street, Florence, South Carolina. Hey, we've given you the information. It's up to you to use it. So y'all have a great night. Kevin Mullins signing out. All right.